Ni hao,
Hi, my name is Meng Long. I am the Minister of Public Works and obedient and loyal servant to Emperor Sui Dynasty. I usually do not keep a journal, but today I write because I fear for my life. I fear for the Emperor. I fear for the Sui Dynasty. Even though the person who reads this may be a foreigner, I invite you to read and learn from the mistakes of the tragic Sui Dynasty. First, let me start off the story of the Sui Dynasty, not with the emperor's story, but with the story of his father. Many years ago, after the fall of the great and legendary dynasty of the Han, China had descended into violence, division, and chaos. Subjects rose up against their rulers. Sons killed their fathers for power. Husbands left their wives to go pillage and rape, and brothers and friends became enemies. Zhongguo, which is the common Chinese name for China, means the Central Kingdom. Before the unification of the Sui dynasty, China was a disunified land of many kingdoms. I now dread what the rising revolts and revolutions will do to China. But then, has my own dynasty become any less corrupt and violent? From what I've seen in my many years, not a person in China isn't proud of the Sui dynasty's first emperor. Emperor Wen, the present emperor's father, was revered by his own people. He had been the leader who had finally unified China. With China divided at that time into northern and southern kingdoms, Wen had overtaken the chaotic government and put himself onto the throne as emperor. After Emperor Wen had defeated the remaining entities who hadn't surrendered peacefully into his rule, he commanded the building of a new capital, unprecedented in all of Chinese history so far. With the weak regimes of the Age of Disunity behind them, the Sui strived to create a powerful, centralized government. Immediately, Emperor Wen set his grand design in motion. He made reforms such as quickly abolishing hereditary local positions for a Confucian bureaucracy answerable to the throne, again elected by a civil service exam. Even more drastic was his organization of his complex bureaucracy, called the 3 departments and 6 ministries, with obviously 3 departments and 6 ministries that divided up supervising all state affairs. Finally, he removed many harsh restrictions and punishments of earlier rulers, much to the people's delight, and reverted land distribution on the basis of the number of people in each household. Oh, so I'm Sam rambling on here. Well, so let me get on with it. So after producing a satisfactory empire with growing granaries, a constantly supervised government, and a unified, peaceful China, Emperor Wen was murdered. It is believed by a multitude of sources that Sui Dynasty, our present emperor, poisoned his father so that he could purposely inherit the empire. While Emperor Wen is compared to the Golden Age emperors of the Han Dynasty, our present emperor is compared to Shi Huangdi of the Qin Dynasty. Like Qin Shi Huangdi, our emperor has embarked on a series of costly construction and conquest. Throughout every week, the emperor commands me to add peasants to the workforce of China's Grand Canal. Although I have guilt at sending thousands of our own people to enter a life of misery and even death, I do it because I fear for my own life. And most definitely likewise with the past building operations of maintaining primary parts of the northern Great Wall and palace reconstruction and ornamentation. These projects have expended much of our treasury and have cost us something even more expensive, the people's blood. The blood of more than 6 million peasants in my records, to be exact. Add these deaths to the casualties of Emperor Yang's military forays into Goguryeo and Baiyu, and you can see why the bureaucrats live in a world of misery and horror at the emperor's treachery. We drink good wine, eat delicious food, and lead prosperous and opulent lives, but all around us, China declines. I have already given my sons orders to protect their family house in preparation for the worst to come. A month ago, the emperor ordered the execution of a successful general in his own army, and General Li responded by declaring a rebellion. While mobilized warlords and lawless bandits scramble to profit from the disarray, the general's family and allies, outrageously directed by a daughter by the name of Pin Yang, have tore through the last government forces and have already broken through the city walls. One of our very own ministers has sided with the overthrow and strangled the emperor to death while the emperor was cowardly fleeing to Jiangdu. I can already hear the rebels coming to pillage the palace. I hope for the best for China and that, unlike the Sui Dynasty, General Li Yuan may lead China into a golden age of prosperity and, more importantly, peace. Goodbye, Zaijian. How are you?